On this week's episode of the Superhero Show, we'll find out if Butcher or a president gets assassinated on The Boys, if Hitmonkey or Kite Man can replace My Adventures with Superman as our new favorite cartoon, and how long can Kark keep the sweet Kryptonian nips out on My Adventures with Superman. All of that and more on an all-new episode of the Superhero Show. Hello, nerds, and welcome to the Superhero Show, the only podcast that covers every single episode of TV based on comic books that we deem worthy enough to cover that week. We're the only one that does that. I am your host for the evening, Mike Gravani, and with me is my pal, Ryan.
I love the brag there because it's like whatever the two of us specifically, or when Cassie's here, the three of us specifically deem worthy. Yes. We're the only podcast that does what we deem worthy. And how argue that? I swear to God, try to argue that.
I would be so creeped out if there was another podcast that covered what we deem worthy. Like they hacked into our text feed so they know what we're going to cover that week.
Actually, now that you're saying that, I would like to change it from we're the only one to I want another one to do this as well. I want another podcast covering what we deem worthy.
But they like, there's like a bizarro Ryan, a weirdo Cassie, a freak Mike. Like they're just like us, but different.
That is, but like when you're different than one of us, you just become another one of us. So yeah, it doesn't change at all. It's just the three of us rotate a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Like Mike's nice.
I'm super into cars on that one.
And I'm into Cars 2. And Cassie is into Cars 3.
There's 3 Cars movies? Is it still? I'm not crazy. That's the worst of the franchises, right? That's not an unpopular opinion.
The worst of the franchises?
Of the Pixar franchises.
No, Mike, that's the most obvious thing you can possibly say about pop culture.
About pop culture in general.
Yes. They're terrible movies. And I hope that they burn in hell.
I know the first one is the first one Chinatown? No, that's Rango.
The first Cars movie is Chinatown with Rango. So look, those are movies. We don't talk about them, so we don't know. We can say anything.
What are we even talking? I don't know. I've never heard of a movie. I've never even smelled a movie.
Does Citizen Kane have Ghostbusters? No, that's called The Godfather. Thank you.
If we want to talk about Ghostbusters, we're talking about the Extreme Ghostbusters because there was comic books based on those, probably.
There are comic books based on a TV show. That's not what we do here, Mike.
That's not what we do. We have a lot of real world fights about that.
We're not up in here reviewing Breaking Bad comic books because that's based on a TV show. We do the reverse.
We do the reverse. We can't fucking do everything that ever has touched or whiffed a comic book, okay, people? It's very clear. It started where we did all live-action TV shows based on comic books. And then it became that plus any of the cartoons that were made for adults. And then it was all live-action TV shows based on comic books except for Walking Dead and anything in the Deadiverse. And then it became, well, Cassie really wants to do Batwheels, so I guess now it's any cartoons that any one of us say we have to do. And then...
I love how we go through this history every week. But do you blame Walking Dead more for this change than that show, the Sandman spinoff? The Dead Boy Detectives?
Dead Boy Detectives just pointed, the jurisprudence just pointed at the precedent set by the Walking Dead universe.
Well, if it's jurisprudence, then quid pro quo.
Habeas corpus, bitch.
Habeas corpus. Hey, I have a question for you, Mike.
Sure.
There is an Image comic written by Chip Zdarsky.
Of course.
Called Public Domain about a guy who lost the rights to a hero that he created by, evil corporations and blah, blah. He gets the rights back, and he starts a comic book. So in issue 6, he gets the rights back. He hires his sons, and they start a comic book called The Domain. Next week after that, Image releases The Domain #1, the comic book that these people made. Cool or lame?
It broke my brain.
You made a face of, I don't know what. That was diarrhea out the penis face.
Yeah, I had a stroke. That was wild. So I think that's neat. As long as they don't continue it, I think that'd be lame. But if you do like a one-off, that's cool.
Do you know who's done something similar to this before? Potential Pop Filter Hall of Famer, maybe Pop Filter Hall of Famer. It's so hard to keep track. There's hundreds of people in there. BKV with Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. Do you remember when he wrote The Escapist, the comic book that the characters from the novel wrote?
Yes.
Did you ever read any of that?
No. Even though I loved Adventures of Cavalier and Clay.
Everybody does.
I think that's a little less lame because it's a different artist. If it's still Chip Zdarsky doing it all, it's okay. But if you're like having fun with it with another artist who likes your shit, that I don't know. Do one. Please don't do two series at once about the same thing.
The comic book is about how these people are struggling to get the comic book done and how they might not be great. And then they release the comic book that they made that isn't that great, but it's purposely not that great. You know what, Mike? Tangent doesn't matter. Let's get to the show.
Tangent doesn't matter. That's a great way if you're sweeping your own tangent away. Real mean if you're doing it to one of your co-hosts.
I'm going to write that down.
Tonight, we are talking about, Ryan, a brand new TV show set in the world of Harley Quinn. It's Kite Yeah, Hell Man. Kite Man, Hell Yeah. Plus the penultimate episode of My Adventures with Superman Season 2. Plus the return of Hit Monkey. But before all that, what the fuck is this? 8 years ago when all we do is watch TV? Before all that, we're talking about the season finale of The Boys Season 4.
The Boys, Season 4.
In the Season 4 finale of The Boys, it's January 6th. Oh, and presidential and vice presidential assassination attempts are afoot. Oh my God. Also, this episode came with a content warning due to real world events of late.
Hey, Mike, can you read your intro for The Boys and not just read the news? The headlines of the news?
It's January 6th. All right, buddy. That was years ago. Hasn't been January 6th in 3 years. In the world of the show, Butcher and Grace are trying to convince Ryan to kill his dad, while Huey's getting revenge of the nerds did by the shapeshifter who has Annie locked up. Newman tries to cut a deal with the boys, and Sage comes back into play, all leading to the final moments where the team are split up and imprisoned. Tasty Ryan, I ask you this. Did the boys, as we say around these
Don't
parts,
say it, Mike. Please say anything else. Are you going to do it?
Did the momentum and flow of the season now make sense in hindsight?
You know what? I've been sort of trained by modern TV to have this be called The Boys Season 4 Part 1.
Uh-huh.
Because that's sort of what it was. I don't know. Has The Boys ever had a finale that was so not final?
It was a Empire Strikes Back final. Your team is all in prison or fucked and gone all over the place. But no, I think every other season it is like, we're telling this story and it is done.
I mean, all season long, we've been talking about, not complaining necessarily, but talking about how there's no Homelander's dad or Star, You're the Worst.
Aya Cash.
Stormfront. There's no, like, absolute villain to beat up because the villain of this season has been the system, the real world, what we're going through on the day-to-day.
Headlines.
And so what we do get is... And like, we just didn't know that, like, The Boys was going to do this, which is just be like, no, we're not going to defeat a villain. We're going to have a thing where, like, it is to be continued 2 years later, you know? And, like, this is a huge, not reset, but, like, we're on the edge of our seats not having almost any closure on anything whatsoever.
Right. Because the big bad is so big, because it's the system and Homeland. I'm so dumb that ignoring the rest of this season, I was like, what are they going to do in the final season? Because they're going to defeat Homelander this hour right now. And then I'm like, you dumb fucking moron.
And I know that, like, there's a couple of obvious things, like saying January 6th, that makes it, like, sort of real world. But what was fantasy to me is to have the clear bad guy with the blonde sort of bad hair just fucking luck his way into victory after victory after victory. That didn't strike home at all to me.
Would never happen. IRL. I didn't like that Jack Black and Kyle Gass also got in a fight and maybe broke up Tenacious D in the world of The Boys.
Yeah.
I'm actually reading that was not in the world of The Boys. Now I am confusing real worlds. Whew. It gets gets confusing. Let's start from a end because I feel like it. Do you know what I don't love? And maybe it's my Gen V anti-bias. Sam and Kate take down Frenchie and Kimiko, who are arguably the most badass of all the boys. These children, no. I do not believe it. I don't believe that these wafy little teens could take down these two hardened criminals.
Well, let me explain. Nirvana kicks in because that's what we do since it was Nirvana, right?
The Batman, yes.
Since the Batman came out.
Heart-shaped backs.
Everything has to be Nirvana. And so Nirvana kicks in, and everybody's going their separate ways. Butcher is going to hopefully assassinate
his way to porn.
Yeah, just become part of hentai. And everybody's escaping. And I think that the reason why the ending works is because they all are so bummed that they didn't succeed. At least we'll succeed in failing. At least we'll escape correctly. And somehow Big Brother knows exactly how they're going to escape and finds them immediately. And I do think that gives these Gen V kids a one-up on the people. Also, every scene of everybody going away and then getting fucked up, like their plans get fucked up, it's not just all of the characters from Gen V and the boys coming back to do stuff. It's also a bunch of, militarized policemen who are now helping them. And so watching all of the people get destroyed like this is something that might be in our future, not but 5 months from now, Mike.
At least there won't be superpowers. Does that make it better?
I have the superpower of hope, and so my superpower is going to be fucked.
We're fucked.
Yeah, real bad.
I do like that projecting, right? Is so Annie gets away because her superpowers come back, and it's like, I hope we figure out that mystery a little. There's two power mysteries of Annie's lights are starting to work again, and then Firestarter, what is her name?
Firecracker?
Truth Bomb? Firecracker.
Oh, no, from Gen V?
Very sneezy. No, from this one. From this one.
Yeah.
She's like super...
Firecracker.
Right, so those mysteries will be solved.
Firecracker is getting some sneezies from the pill she's taking to make more milk for Homelander, which I thought was going to drop a virus into this perfect body of Homelander.
I was like, oh, the virus is out. And I still kind of think that. I think the virus is sifting out into the world because Samir said that, the guy whose leg they cut off. He was like, if we make one power enough to kill Homelander, it will just kill all Supes. And that's my theory. Is it's just like in the air, slowly attacking everybody now.
And so now we're turning into Sweet Tooth, but it's for Supes. Also, Mike, there's more mysteries than that. Ashley, knowing that her days are numbered, runs into and grabs some blue and
Compound V,
injects that, and is just, her brain grows 3 sizes that day.
She leaders out. She turns into like a Gollum leader. And at first, I thought it knocked her hair off. But then I realized she's had trichotillomania and it's been a wig the last 2 seasons. I forgot about that.
Also, for her power to be, she knocks her hair off. That's not a good power. Is this like a Sage on Ashley battle? Like, are they arch nemesis because now they're equally smart?
Oh, that'd be wild. I guess big brain does mean smart.
God, there's so many fucking things to talk about.
I love it. Sage rolled back in at the end, just eating chips. And she's like, gives him a balloon. She's like, yeah, man, we did it. He's like, we didn't do it. She's like, oh, no, we did it. I just knew you would fuck up all these things, so I kept a bunch from you. And he's like, but I was so mean to you. She's like, I just did it to see if I could do it. This was so much fun. I really for so long, again, because Hope is a bad superpower, I was like, no, she's actually on the side of the boys, but she won't even tell them. No, actual smart people are greedy fucks. Being smart does not mean you're good.
The hilarious thing about liberals, one of the many hilarious things about liberals, is they think that all the smart people are on their side, and that's actually not true. One of my notes for the boys, and I know that's not our job, but I would love if they would stop shooting and delivering dialogue in a way where it's like you're walking away from a car exploding. Sage's lines about no, I just did it because it was fun. Not that cool. Annie beating up the shapeshifter and saying I'm the bitch who finally hurt you. These lines aren't that cool, and they don't have. I'm not saying that all lines have to be cool. Just calm down with the camera work around them. Don't make them
Yeah.
that spotlighted.
We could move on if they didn't not move on about it. Right? That made sense. We've talked about, and last week you guys dealt with it again, so maybe the shapeshifter popped up last week, and you guys talked about that Huey was having sex with her, and that continued in this one, where not only did he have sex with the shapeshifter, he also proposed to her, she proposed to him, then he reverse proposed. So yeah, this show does just think it's hilarious to dick over Huey sexually. And not only hilarious, it kind of feels like the show is on Annie's side, because she is mad at him for sleeping with somebody else. And the show didn't screech to halt and be like, no, Annie. Here's why you're fucking wrong.
Well, I mean, there is potentially an interesting thing that could have happened where Huey feels so out of his element because he doesn't have superpowers that he definitely cannot show weakness, right? So for him to cry about being sexually assaulted hundreds of times over the course of the last 2 episodes, that would show weakness, but we don't deal with that. It's just a joke, for sure.
Right. It's just like, well, you better get to the STD clinic. And he goes, phew, that means she's not mad at me anymore.
Good job, Huey. Way to go, Huey. He's just pumping himself up because he didn't lose the girl, not really dealing with the fact that he was essayed.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. Thinking of a good Huey moment that I feel like this show is proving wrong is he has this great monologue about it's like, no, do you know what is insane? That we try to solve every problem with murder. He has a good point. Because they're like, we should kill Newman, we should kill this person. He's like, we need to work with people we don't agree with. But then Tentacle Butcher comes in, who's taken over by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and is just like, no, mates, you all got to say thank you, matey. And now I... Tentacle, everybody.
This is why you did such a bad job as a server at that pirate restaurant you worked at, is because you would cough on everybody's food every time you delivered it.
Well, I want to be historically accurate, and all those pirates would have had tuberculosis. So I was just trying to kick in that cough.
Oh, my tooth just came out on your food then. Sorry about the scurvy, matey.
Overall, Ryan, we are running out of time, so we're going to come in for landing. It's clear you and I thought this was the weakest of the seasons.
Yeah, I mean, season 1, I would put it up there with season 1. I think 2 and 3 are really, really great television.
Pinnacle. Yeah. And for maybe it did have a lot of season 1 where the shock value that isn't that good enough. Isn't it funny? Ha 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 ha. Are you excited for the final season? Because they're wrapping it up, so maybe it'll be good.
Oh man, that's the thing about TV, Mike. Movies are they start and then they're over, and you're like, that's it, I guess. With TV, you could hate it for the entire time. I didn't, but you could, and then have a good last 10 minutes, and you're like, I want the next season right fucking now. And I do. If they do that thing that they did between seasons 3 and 4 of just wait 5 years, twiddling their thumbs, I assume that there was nothing that came in the way of them making season 4. They just sat in their ass because they're lazy. Don't do that again, please.
And it's not the actors aren't lazy and the writers aren't lazy. It's the distributor who's lazy. Because Jack Quaid said they filmed this 3 years ago. So people are asking him, he's like, oh, what did we do this season? It's been years.
I don't think it's the distributor. Years. I think that Amazon is awesome, and I love them, and I hope that they are doing great, and I hope that they hope that I'm doing great.
All right, the robot with the gun left. You can breathe.
Oh, okay.
Ryan, what was your moment of the week?
My moment of the week was you were talking about how you had hope that you knew that the Homelander storyline was going to be done, and I agreed, and I thought that Ryan was going to be the cause. We're name buddies. We have the same youthful look, and so we have the same superpowers. Mine are less obvious, but we have the same superpowers, and so I thought that he was going to become turned over, and I realized why he wasn't. Grace, a longtime Boys character, meets her end, and when just before she does, she runs over to Ryan and fucking libtards. Can I say that term? Libs out on him and just recites all of the bad things that Homelander has done in like 30 seconds, like Job trying to like be at a new job, just like, and also he raped your mom and like he killed 240 people on this plane and he's killed thousands of people, and it's just too much. It's so much that like I can't compute any of what you're saying.
Right.
That's when I knew that Grace was dead, and that's how I knew that Democrats were dead, all in that moment.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I have two, one good, one bad. My good moment of the week is Homelander's talking to Newman and saying, no, here's what we're going to do. So you are going to be, he's like, you're going to be the first super abled president. And you're a gal. And just his, like, he means it. Like, isn't that great? You're a gal. How wild. How novel. Made me laugh a lot. And Anthony Starr is very fucking good in this role. And then the other, and like, we're done this too far, is when another Newman influence moment is hentai tentacles from Butcher rips Victoria in half. This show will never not think covering Huey in blood is the funniest thing in the world. But it's done it too many times.
Yeah.
It's the same bloody well. And so it's not that funny anymore.
It's funny when he spits a little bit of blood or bone or brain out. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Mike, I have one more moment of the week real quick. I love the fact that Mother's Milk, MM, as we call him, shops very specifically at that Walmart section that has stacks of hip-hop T-shirts from the 90s. Uh-huh. And this week, he specifically, or accidentally, wore one that said Dead Prez.
Woo!
Yeah. And I thought that, I was shocked when I saw it, but I thought that if they had blurred it out, wouldn't that have been the most 90s hip-hop thing you could do? Is to have somebody with a blurred T-shirt. That's all music videos were my entire youth.
Right. Just blurred T-shirts.
Yeah.
You can't get those rights yet.
In fact, I would like to start a line. Oh, wait. Are you about to ask me a question?
I am. You fucking shut your mouth and tell me in 3 seconds what you're about to start a line. The Boys, season 4 is done, but you can watch it on Amazon Prime whenever you want. And we'll wait in 3 years. We'll be back with The Boys season 5, and unfortunately, we'll probably have to sit through Genevieve season 2 before then.
Not all of us.
Not all of us. Ryan.
Wait, I have an idea for a bit. Nope, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait.
I would love to hear an idea of yours for a website, perhaps.
blurredtshirts.com. If you are missing like 90s hip hop videos when they would wear any T-shirt, and maybe they said the N-word, but maybe they just said Nike on it. It doesn't matter. You got to blur that shit out. MTV will not allow it. What if you want to bring that back with blurredtshirts.com, where you wear a T-shirt that has a built-in blur? No one will ever see what's on your shirt because that blur is always there. Oh, by the way, it's always a T-shirt for the band Blur.
Woohoo. Can you turn up and down how much you want it blurred? Like, so you can see this a version of the swoosh behind the blur?
Oh, no? Mike, a thing that has never existed on a T-shirt ever in history? Of course you can with these. You can turn down...
Not like, oh, what am I feeling today? But like when you're ordering from the website, like, do I want this band's Blur coffee and donuts? Well, that was one of their songs, right? No, coffee and cigarettes. I thought super blurred.
You were suggesting that every T-shirt comes with a little dial like it's an electric blanket. And the answer is yes, it does come with a dial. We have figured out the technology, and you can absolutely do that.
These are going to heat up. And yes. I mean, colloquially and literally.
These are coming off shelves like pancake, hotcake shirts. Rival website is selling shirts made of hotcakes, and those are...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I want to buy stuff from them.
I know. No, stop. Buy from us. Stop buying from hotcakeshirt.com. This is not an ad from Hot... No, don't.
This is not an ad for hotcakeshirts.com. This is for blurred something something.
Blurredtshirt.com.
Blurredtshirt.com. Ryan, I believe in you, and I believe in this product. And that's why I'm sending you over to my friends at cybersprout.net. They provide you with the tools and the training that make managing and tweaking your business's website a breeze. And we know you need it to be a breeze because you're such an idea man. They're going to give you easy-to-edit fields, custom templates, and drag-and-drop tools. They're going to cover security, backup optimization, maintenance, and speed, and handle hosting. That's all of it. They're even going to migrate your website for free.
I'm sorry, I accidentally turned the blur up on Mike's pitch, and I'm going to turn that down.
And they'll even burn your rival website to the ground. So,
thank you.
Hey, hotcakes, you're going to smell good soon.
And as Mike Mike, as the late great Kanye West said, I'm not an idea man. I'm an idea man.
Visit cybersprout.net to get started. We're going to take the quiz breaks, and when we come back, every other show that came out this week. And now it is the pull list, where we talk about every other show that came out this week, and for months it's been like one other show. Nope, there's a whole bunch, folks, starting with Hitmonkey. On the first 2 episodes of the second season of Hitmonkey, Monkey Bryce and Haruka team up to find out who in the assassin underworld set them up. This leads to a big library fight where the characters end up not shushing as much as they should have. Taste buds, I ask you this. There's a second season of Hitmonkey?
It's so crazy. Like, remember, I'm going to ask you this. Here's some trivia for the host of this particular episode of a podcast about comic book based TV. Do you remember the 4 Hulu Marvel shows that came out?
Oh, that came out or were supposed to come out?
Oh, did they not all come out? I can think of 2 others.
Supposed to come out was Hitmonkey, MODOK, Tigra, and somebody.
Okay.
And then the 4th one would have been... I'm blanking.
It's Son of Satan?
Oh, Hellstrom.
Hellstrom. Remember, we got a whole season of Hellstrom.
So we did get that. There were supposed to be 4 cartoons. So we're forgetting is the 3rd cartoon, but we did the Hulu. So we did get MODOK, we did get Hitmonkey, we did get live action Hellstrom, and then we were supposed to get live action Ghost Rider because that was going to be Adventures into Fear or Journey into Fear.
Do you think we could have got some Man Thing on that one?
Ooh, I love a Man Thing.
I cannot believe this came out. I literally never heard a single person talk about Hitmonkey season 1, despite us watching every episode. And now it's here. It must be super cheap or something. And these 2, I do think that this is a step up. This is a more focused show than the first season. I do think that I'm going to be bailing. If you had watched it and you were excited about it, then I would probably keep watching it with you. But I just can't take... There's a lot going on here, and the lore is really cool. The animation's awesome. We're doing stuff with like old school Japanese swords and like the powers that are within each sword and finding artifacts and stuff like that. But Jason fucking Sudeikis sucks on this. We talked about in the first season how much the animation was similar in some ways to Archer. Yes. And Archer compared to Bryce. As far as comedy goes, like, everything Bryce says is anti-comedy. It fucking chills me to the bone how stupid and awful it is.
Very first thought, worst thought?
Yes. And just like, it's like, well, that happened every single time he opens his mouth.
And because the main character is mute because he's a monkey, it means Bryce talks double, right?
Right. But now Haruka's here. Like, she's on the team. Lose Bryce, I'm back in. And like, they are foils. You know, right. and I really do love, like, my moment of the week, if we continue to watch this, is always going to be how everyone reacts to the fact that there's a monkey wearing a suit in a restaurant or a mall differently. Like, yes. Everyone's, like, perplexed but not freaking out. And I do love that about this show. But Bryce, Jason Sudeikis, and I have to assume that Jason Sudeikis has some sort of, like, hey, instead of that, could I say this? Like, some sort of, like, in the recording room.
Punch up?
Yeah, can I punch this up a little bit? It's all like there's not a single funny line.
That's a bummer. Well, is that your moment of the week?
My moment of the week is I really appreciate that Leslie Jones and Kristen Milotti, they're both on the show. Kristen Milotti plays his daughter. I don't remember that from season 1, so maybe that's new, maybe it's not. Leslie Jones is the person who sort of arranges the hits, and that's sort of just like the John Wickian way that we go now, is that there's like a very bureaucratic way to handle all underground assassinations and whatnot. But Leslie Jones as it is pretty good. But my moment of the week is the fact that Bryce went to hell, and then Bryce was like, to the devil. I know a monkey. He's good at killing bad guys. I'm going to send so many souls to hell. And the devil's like, that's a good idea, and then sends him back up. And so the devil appears every once in a while, and Bryce is like, Hitmonkey, we got to go kill some people. And then they do, and the devil's like, okay, that's pretty awesome. I'm full now.
Devil hungry. You might have just won me over and made me want to watch it.
If you do, text me like in the next couple days, and I will watch it with you.
We'll go down together.
I want a friend to talk to about this. That's the reason for podcasting, Mike.
That's the reason for friendship. That's a reason for TV. All episodes of Hit Monkey were dropped on Hulu last week, but we will be maybe watching them week by week. We'll
also,
let you know next week.
Listeners, text us, and we'll let you know if we're watching it.
Hey, listeners, you can hit me up at 714. No, I'm not going to Ryan Gall this. I'm not going to do it.
Also, if you have pants you want to switch with Mike, he will switch pants with you right now.
I will switch pants with any motherfucker.
Nobody wears your size of pants, Jared. Pre-Jared.
I'm pre. Next up is a new show. Kite Man, hell yeah.
The first 2 episodes of Kite Man, hell yeah. Kite Man and his girlfriend, the Golden Glider, find their way into buying, episode 1, and then promoting, episode 2, a bar. At some point, they hire a posh young woman who has no business working in a bar to then work in their bar. The first time a 30-minute comedy based in a bar has ever done that. Taste Buds, I ask you this. Did we lose a step from Harley Quinn? Like, did the second team come over to do this? Or does this show pick up with the exact tone and mood, if not animation, from its sister show?
The same animation, yes. The animation is there. Looks good. Slick. It feels like somebody explained the tone of Harley Quinn to a new batch of writers, and they wrote what they thought that could mean. I was bummed watching these 2 episodes.
Hard disagree.
Really?
I thought this was absolutely hilarious and as good as any 2 episodes of Harley Quinn.
All the how you described Bryce is how so much of this show felt to me.
Really?
Of hacky jokes. Yeah.
Maybe, okay, if you're going to watch Kite Man, watch an episode of Hit Monkey and then watch Kite Man, and you will think it's that much funnier.
That's the way you'll enjoy it. I enjoyed the Golden Glider Happy Gilmoreing her way through the Ice Squad. The Mad Max Ice Squad, that was fun. Visuals, I think, are still fun. The Bad News Bears assassin heist against Kite Man's dad's house, like those looked good and those had fun moments. But overall, I don't know if Kite Man just like graded. If I don't think he can carry the show, or it even felt like them. They're like, oh, well, we'll pour it in Lex and Bane because people liked those in Harley Quinn. So much of this felt like the people were like, I don't know if this show can carry it without taking even more characters.
Oh, no, I totally agree with that. It did feel like this is a real 90s, or Harley Quinn is a real 90s sitcom, and we have to bring over some people. And so Bane's just like, well, I guess I work here now, and I work at this bar, which I thought was hilarious. But I think that
Bane rules because Bane always rules.
The secret code, the secret recipe to this show was that Kite Man cannot hold his own show, and so Golden Glider becomes the main character. And I think that she is incredible. I think that she rivals Lois Lane as far as her, like, I'm just as powerful as you, and I'm a dope ass girlfriend and an incredible character. I think that she's better than Lois Lane in every interpretation of Lois Lane that we've ever had.
You're insane. Are you being Lois insane right now?
I think that she's great and she is the main character, but like you can't start a sitcom with a girl's name in it. This is the problem with Joey. Joey from Friends they thought it was Joey Potter from Dawson's Creek, so they probably thought it was Katie Holmes, of course. But Joey is a moron. Kite Man is a moron. So Joey didn't have like somebody else. Originally, the show was going to be called Noonan's, and it was just going to be Cheers. It was just going to be about the bar, but they're like, no, Kite Man, hell yeah, which I do. I love the name of the show. I know you do. I know you do. Even though I can't say it. To have someone in your life that has a catchphrase, hell yeah, is incredible, which the people in the show do. And also we have Greg from Movie of the Year who says hell yeah to everything. He really does. They should see the text feed. I don't know. Like, it made me want to go back and watch Harley Quinn to be like, am I wrong? Am I right? Well, it felt too less than. I don't know. I hopefully you go on this journey with me. It doesn't seem like you will, but I'm very excited for this show. Well, friends, we'll go down together on this as well. Let's get to moments of the week, or if you want to call out any characters, you can have 8 moments of the week if you want. My moment of the week is there is a 2-headed guy. Yes, let's talk about him. A Goodfellas-esque thug on the team. I think he's just a patron of the bar. It's like if you started a heist and Cliff Clavin was like, oh, I'll just be on your team, and now he's there. And then in the big fight, one of the heads gets shot in the head. And I thought instantly, oh, that character is going to stick around and just have a fucking dead head. And he does, and it's hilarious.
And then leading up to there's a lot of mob Italian jokes, but the one that really worked for me was the end. And so at this point, you sometimes in the flashbacks, it's both of them. Sometimes the zombie one is just attached to him. Not zombie, fully dead. We find out when somebody says, hey, can you take care of this? He thinks they mean kill. So there's just this back and forth about all the times somebody's like, can you take care of my plants? Can you tell, and just all the times you try to kill something, because that's what that tickled me.
I do. The one thing that I think we're doing here is we're maybe like Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon is a thing that we could compare it to, where Harley Quinn is about a lot of pathos and relationship drama and really serious stuff, and this is absolutely the kind of thing that's going to be wrapped up in 22 minutes every week, and I'm sort of down with that. Fair.
I'll give it a chance. It was just the first two we watched. Any other moments you want to call out before we move on?
And then I really like what's her name from What We Do in the Shadows as Malice. Oh, I wanted to ask you, is this the Malice? The new hire, is this the Malice from Batwoman? Or is that just straight up Alice?
They call her Alice. Because it could be that, or also there was that 90s video game that I think Trent Reznor did the music to, Malice in Wonderland. I don't know what this is.
No, but Mike, it's obvious that this is a terrible show because Malice is Darkseid's goddaughter, and he comes through the portal with his choir, and the choir keeps singing about how great Darkseid is.
I liked the choir. There's moments I liked. There's just so much I didn't like. Right. I'll keep giving it a chance. Kite Man, hell yeah, is on. Okay, that's fun to say. Is on Thursday nights on Max. Our final show of the evening is My Adventures with Superman. In the penultimate episode of My Adventures with Superman, Clark is stuck in the dreamscape, and Lois has to edge her way past Brainiac's recreation of Clark's parents. Meanwhile, Jimmy and Kara end up back on Earth and are captured by Waller and Task Force X, but are saved by the powers of journalism. Tasty Ryan, I ask you this. Are we happy Lois and Clark are back together, or are you bummed at all they won't have new narrative direction next season?
No. When I hear the word "my" in My Adventures with Superman, we're supposed to think that it's could be anybody, anybody could be the star of the show alongside Superman. It could even be us, the audience, but it's Lois. It's
Lois.
They are the thing. And maybe this is because Superman and Lois, the CW show, taught me this. But I don't, in a way that I don't even think that Peter and MJ have, in a way that I don't think Bruce and that fucking fat ass hottie Silver St. Cloud has. Maybe even in a way that Kite Man and the Golden Glider have. That Superman and Lois sort of... There is no story without the two of them together.
Yeah, I was so bummed when it looked like... I did think maybe next season should be with Vicky Vale and Gotham. And they wouldn't be together. And we suddenly just have two shows that kind of go back and forth. And we just get more Jimmy then. I'm very excited that they got over their hump. Like a sitcom does, and they're like, no. I was dumb and scared. I do love you. We can, with the power of Grayskull, we're in Clark's brain, so Lois finally has the powers of how strong Clark sees her. All of that is visually cool looking and emotionally heartwarming.
We talk about how often, how dumb we are towards anime when we talk about this show, and I was struck by that when Lois puts the fucking bad guy down. Palm heel strike right to the face, takes him down. I was like, oh, this looks like Scott Pilgrim. A thing that's also mocking anime. That's, or not mocking, but
not mocking, inspired by.
Inspired by. I have no basis. I only have the things that are taken from that,
Right. I like that you're you're so Weird Al-pilled that you're it's mocking it. If it's referencing it, it's mocking it.
If you love it, you mock it.
That explains this. So yeah, and the Clark and Lois holding hands and just spinning around to be like, now I punch the wall, now you punch the bad guy. Now I punch the wall, now you punch the bad guy. All of it fucking worked for me.
And like that's sort of the magic of the show, is to figure out what ways Lois will be super, right? And so sometimes it's in less obvious ways, and sometimes it's in, I'm going to go through a Groundhog Day. We get our Groundhog Day episode of this show, and she gets to try again. And I don't even know if it's Groundhog Day, because it's not 24 hours. Can we start a new... Is it Edge of Tomorrow instead?
That is what I said. So thank you. That's what I think.
Okay. That's what you already said?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I understand that you just tune out the minute I start reading a paragraph. You bring up your phone.
I literally brought up my phone. I had to text somebody.
I know. No, I saw that at the corner of my eye while I was reading. A great reference that clearly same wavelength, you and I. Let's talk about what's going down on Earth. Earth. They get sliced in half, their spaceship. I didn't quite understand who sliced them in half or what. Doesn't matter. But Malala and the Brain are just... They went through a portal. They're out of here. And Jimmy and Kara are on the ground with Lois's body, and then have to deal with Waller and Task Force X. And then how did we feel about... United Powers of Journalism saving them while Steve from the Wolfpack releases them from the back of the prison?
Well, first of all, I know we don't do MVP for each episode, but Steve is on an all-time high right now, right?
Yeah.
Are we...
Is he Kite Man? Because hell yeah.
I always thought that Steve was the, on purpose, least likable, even like worse than Amanda Waller on this show. And he just has so many great moments this episode. But no, I think that it has to do with good always winning in fiction, as if Aaron Sorkin wrote this episode, but not real life, where evil always wins.
And even Aaron Sorkin's getting evil these days.
But also, there's like huge bad guys here. And Amanda Waller's like, hey, Deathstroke, you've only lost 1 million times, and Lex Luthor, you're borderline nothing at this point. Go fix it. They don't.
Right.
They don't.
Her young boys cannot handle it.
I thought that...
Maybe she should have stuck with the military experts.
Yeah, I thought that at some point Lois's dad was going to pop in and do something. Where did he go? Do you remember?
He's busy not taking out the garbage or being a good roommate.
Is he, while all this is going on, is he still at the apartment just being the best roommate ever?
Just being the best roommate ever, shitting his pants.
Well, don't use the toilet if you're a good roommate. You shit in your own pants.
Shit in your own pants, and then have your roommates clean those up.
But like everything comes to a head, and then we get a Superman, Mike, and he breaks out of his Brainiac stuff, and he now has no undies.
Oops, no undies.
Do we like this new costume?
Wait, like the red trunks?
The red trunks are gone.
Is that what you're talking about?
He's in. No, he's probably still wearing underwear, because otherwise, what would he shit in? He's a good roommate. But somehow Brainiac, going from his original costume to Brainiac, gave him a new costume, and I don't know the logic.
I think Brainiac's a pervert and kept Superman's red trunks.
What else is he going to sniff all day?
That freaky ass robot. You want to sell toys. You want to change it up for next season. New costumes, whatever.
I love when you go full CEO of Mattel circa 1985. That's my favorite character of yours.
The same amount of money, right?
So is this how we're going to get Kara's new costume too? Is she just going to break out a Brainiac's thing and then just be Supergirl?
If you break out a Brainiac's thing and then Randy Quaid your way up Brainiac's butthole of a rocket ship, that's how you get a new costume, I think.
Randy Quaid, uncle of Superman?
Uncle of oh my, it's all connected.
It's all connected. I just make a new costume machine. It leads me to ask, I have to ask, if Brainiac took us over and then we busted out of it, what would the two of us be wearing?
Oh, okay. So when Brainiac takes us over, that's when we're kind of bondaged and sexy. So what's the new version of what we're currently wearing?
I do not want to hear about Brainiac's sexy costumes for the two of us. I want to hear about what happens when we break out of them.
Well, because I'm wearing a dope Tribe Called Quest t-shirt, I guess it's a long sleeve version of that. And on the back now says Dead Prez to bring in other 90s hip-hop shirts of they're blurred.
They're all blurred, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get it twisted.
And even though you said you didn't want it, the pop filter is just a giant jockstrap logo, and you were naked but for that.
I thought you were going to say flip-flops on every toe and finger.
Oh, like fingerboards, but flip-flops for each toe and finger.
Yeah.
Yes, that is what you're wearing.
God, if Brainiac is sexy as hell, his costumes, what that you break out of them are the least sexy thing that you could possibly imagine. Flip-flops.
Of course. Flip-flops.
You know what? No.
Toe flops.
Birkenstocks everywhere. I have an entire armor made of Birkenstock.
I would rather flop than stock. That's what I always say. Rather Merkin than Birkin. Ryan,
wait, did you take that fucking, as the host of the show, you took that pause to come up with rather Merkin than Birkin?
I breathed and thought and said, okay? Those are my rules. Breathe, think, say.
My moment of the week is going back to the lowest part that feels like Groundhog Day, but I have to say I think it's more close to Edge of Tomorrow, is where...
Holy shit, that's really good.
Thank you so much. She runs in, and like at one point, one of her options is just to talk as fast as possible to solve all of the problems. And you know that's going to be maybe not 3 or 6, but like your 8th, 10th try is just going to be, fuck this. I'm going to just get it all done right now. You're my boyfriend. I love you.
The dream parents, who were the evil ones, had to say this like magical phrase to start it over, and sometimes they were like very menacing, and sometimes they would just like poke in like hide and go seek with little kids. It'd be like magic words now, like through a bush.
I love the parents because they're like, should we put her through the Black Mercy again? And none of them are like, I don't know. Do you think something called the Black Mercy might not be great? No, you know what? Let's put her through the Black Mercy again.
Mine is a Steve moment, and he's explaining. Jimmy's like, what happened? He's like, we saw you get arrested, and said, nah. And I was like, that's the kind of friend you need.
When he turns around and talks to Kara, and he's just like, you're a goddamn Supergirl. Steve fucking, man,
yeah,
rules.
Steve's really won us over.
And we didn't even talk about his van.
Steve. His wolf van, and they zoom in on the howling wolves. Steve and his adventures with Superman are on Sunday mornings on HBO Max. We will be talking about the season finale next week. Ryan, that is all the time we have.
Oh, my God. I didn't watch Spider-Man the Animated Series this week, so this works out for me.
Really? It's all coming up, Ryan. What else is coming up, Ryan, is commercials. Ryan, tell everybody about websites.
Oh, of course, popfilter.co is where you can go to get every other episode that we've done about Spider-Man the Animated Series. I think that Sins of the Father parts 1 through 6 are up, and we'll probably do part 7 next week, right, Mike? Mike, please.
I bet we'll do part 7 next week.
We should
the one true continuation all season.
Yeah, seriously, to be continued, and it's got Daredevil in it. I've heard. I haven't watched it, but more Daredevil.
I've heard.
So yeah, popfilter.co. Also, popfilter.co/Amazon is where you should go. Make that your new Amazon bookmark. Anything else that we do?
Cybersprout.net again.
Cybersprout.net. Blurredtshirt.com is where you go to find out more about. It's actually just about cybersprout.net. Great website.
Great website. If you want more of us plus others, you should go check out Movie of the Year. We're on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. This season, we are going through 1984. Last week, we just had a episode come out with Pete Wright of Marvel Movie Minute, who you've heard on the show before. The Terminator. The first Terminator. The
Heard of
Terminator
it.
is what we covered. Heard of it. And then coming up next week is All of Me with the ladies of the 80s. What's the pod? Who are our guests?
TV 80s ladies. 80s TV ladies. Mike, did you...
80s TV ladies.
Did you watch all of me yet?
I have not watched all of you yet.
You're going to love
Someday I'll watch all of you.
it.
But that's Movie of the Year. You should check it out. Hit us up at Your Pop Filter on Instagram. Contact at popfilter.co on emails. Next week, while I vamp, Ryan, how excited for next week are you?
I'm excited, Mike, because you have another determination to make. You've got Kite Man, hell yeah, which you might quit. Hit Monkey, which you might start. And I am so interested to know, are you Snowpiercer pilled enough to keep going with the series?
Snowpiercer finally returns, and I think I bailed halfway through last season. Again, 8 years ago. It's hard to remember. It's been a long time.
No suspense here. I'm out. I'm fucking out.
Yeah.
There's no way. But I would love, Mike, to ask you questions about your viewing of Snowpiercer, the final season.
Well, I'll shake your hand right now and say I'll at least watch the first episode of the final season and go from there. What Broadway star will be on this season? And, of course...
That is a weird thing to have.
The finale of my adventures with Superman. For Random Mike... Enough said.